up and up and up. Right now, this stock could be signaling the first warning shot across the bow that there could be problems ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you. I had a big cycle day coming up over the weekend, but the next low that I was zeroing in on as a possible would be somewhere like maybe Monday the 20th. I wanted to get an idea from you. If we top out here, where do you think we might find support? I got the 46 on the J.P. Morgan. I'm talking about the S&P.
Yeah, well, right now on the S&P, the market, for the most part, is still holding up very, very well. As tonight we're going to have a solar eclipse around 8:30 this evening, so sometimes they can also mark turning points in the market. So I think traders should be aware of that going forward. That's something that I talk about with my members quite often. We've been up into this little time zone, so we're at a fragile point for the market. If the market pulls back with any conviction, again, it's going to be 1550 will be the real test.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Now, on that point, we got a really abnormally strong rally in the U.S. dollar today going into this eclipse. Do you see this as a possible pivot point for that also?
I think the dollar is going all the way to $84 now. I mean, I don't see anything stopping it at the moment. The dollar is on a tear to the upside. That's going to be bearish for commodities. I think the stronger dollar is bearish for the Dow Jones industrial stocks too. Just look at some of the earnings that were reported, like M, 3M, and Fedex, and so Caterpillar, and so many Dow components. So I think the dollar's headed to $84 in the short run. It looks very, very strong, and today is a big, big outside day. And again, you had dollar yen crossing 100 today, so that's probably the catalyst behind that.
Okay, got it. All right. Then you have ITB, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about ITB today because this here is basically a housing ETF. And if you go back, Michael, and you look at a big, long monthly chart, and that's what I do when we get to these extended points, I got to go way back into time to find the resistance levels. And this 25.57 level is major resistance. I think ITB for aggressive traders can be shorted here down to the 22 level, and then potentially, and this is just a big potentially, 22 I would probably take off half the trade, cover half of it, and then it could be traded down to around 1950.
Okay, got it. Time frame for that trade? Do you have any ideas?
Well, today or tomorrow would be the trigger. I think it would happen rather quickly, within a week or two, but, the trade would have to be sold right away.
Okay, got it. All right. RAX is what you wanted to talk about next.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up Rack Systems because this was a leading stock. They're in the cloud computing space, networking and hosting area. It's a very, very good company for anybody that owns a website. But the one thing I want to point out is that this stock has now rolled over from $81. Today, after reporting earnings, it's down to $39.30. This stock is going to go to probably 33, possibly 31 before it finds final low. The other reason why I even bring it up today is because this is just one of the many recent market leaders that are no longer leading this market. And, you could just see that this is where I think traders need to start looking at the old leadership and say, hey, why are these stocks rolling over if things are so great out there? And, again, I don't mean to harp on the central bankers. I make a lot of money trading this market, and that's what you want to do. But, this is a driven this market is the overall S&P is being driven by all of this stimulus that's out there. And I know we talk about it a lot, especially on your program, but, again, at some point it will become problematic, and this is just another stock that has rolled over.
Okay, what about FedEx? You've been talking to us for a little while about tracking this market.
Yeah, FedEx is the leading transport stock in the world. Today, if you take a look, you're going to see that FedEx broke down right on the 20th of March. The stock is right up into that resistance level. There's also other factors there. I think FedEx is a short right here.
Okay, and where do you think it might end up?
I think FedEx ultimately is going to head back down towards the $90 level. That's where there seems to be a ton of support on the bigger time frames. In the short run, it probably could go down to around the $95 level first and find some support, but ultimately $90.
Okay. All right. That's good. Good intel. How'd the trading room go today?
Trading room went dynamic. We just had a couple more scalp trades called out in the chat room. We also had 2 gap plays that triggered this morning for winners, and we've had about 2 other trades. So, I mean, if anybody is out there, come on over, take a 7-day free trial to the chat room. I mean, I think it's the best program out there.
Okay, talk to me about interest rates, TLT. Do you think anything's going to happen there?
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, the TLT, in my opinion, is holding up like a rock. It's signaling to me, even if it does come down a little bit more, and we can't rule out that it won't test the 118, 118.50 level, but ultimately the way it's holding up, Michael, if you look at the weekly chart, this thing looks like it wants to get to the 128 to 130 level. Okay. So I think that ultimately bond yields, for the most part, are headed lower. Okay.
All right. What about the gold market? I think you're one of the ones that you trade is GLD, right?
Yeah, I trade GLD. I also trade the IAU very, very often. As you know, I do own gold and silver bullion, which I do not trade. I will hold that forever, as that's my safety blanket. But right now, GLD is holding up okay. I know it's down a little bit today, but if you look at the pattern on the daily chart, it's putting in a sideways consolidation pattern. I think ultimately the problems will come into GLD when it gets to around the 150 level. But right now, it's holding up fine. It's been beaten down, and you have a lot of hedge fund managers like John Paulson that are long gold that are just taking a shellacking. And until that liquidity, until that beaten runs out and he's forced to basically close out a lot of his positions, that's when the problems will end for gold.
Okay. Natural gas. We've had a lot of people throughout the week talk to us about this thing after its pullback here. So UNG, the ETF for that, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the UNG here. I talked about it on your show last week. I think I said 2080 was the level for a bounce. Today it got down to 21. So I was looking a little bit lower, but I like the level here for UNG, which is the United States Natural Gas Fund. I think natural gas is holding up. It's not going to make a huge move because we're coming into the summer season, but, I mean, the chart is good right now.
Okay, and crude oil, what do you think about that, USO?
Well, if you're looking at the USO right now, I think there's a ton of resistance up here around 34.25 to 34.50. I'd look for a pullback in oil. If it does trade above that level with any volume or conviction, then we have to look at 36.25, but that's going to be where there's huge, huge resistance on the USO. And if you're looking at crude futures right now, I mean, we have a ton of resistance right where we are at the moment. So I really don't see much upside in crude unless you get a geopolitical event triggering. But really, crude should stall out around these levels. Okay.
All right. You've answered all of my questions. Any last takeaway messages for the audience before you go?
No, I mean, I just like to see a lot of traders come over. If you have any questions, you could always email us at supportedinthemoney stocks and come over and take a 7-day free trial, Michael, to our research center or to our live chat room each and every day. You get to see our computer screens, see everything that we're doing. I put up gap plays each and every morning. I think we had 1 loser so far this week out of 9 winners. So, who could beat that?
God, yeah, really. That's my question. Who could beat that one?
And that's before the market even opens. So, I mean, they're posted up there at 9 a.m. in the morning for all the traders to take advantage of.
Wait. Tell everybody that again. What did you just say? You do what?
Yeah, I post up the pre-market gap trades in the morning before the market even opens. They're posted up there at 9 a.m. And as soon as the market opens, traders are usually in the money, making money within the first several minutes of the day.
And then I think Brian sent me a link to all of the trades that you've made. You post those too, don't you?
Yes, in our research center too, which is more geared towards the person that works a 9-to-5 job, that is more of a swing trader or an investor. We have a pretty stellar track record on there as well.
Yeah. All right. Now there was question before 180, 140. Where are we on this ROI with you?
About 140. It's 140.
Year to date?
Year to date.
After commissions?
Well, maybe a little bit less after commissions, but
Not
these
much.
days, commissions aren't that high.
Nice. Keep up the good work. We'll see you next week, Nick.
Thank you, Michael. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Nick Santiago, President and CEO. After that kind of a track record, you need to go see what this guy's all about. All right, coming up next, on the other side of this break, we're going to come back with George